So I'm currently here in Kosovo, where I'm attending the European Students for Liberty regional conference. I will be speaking about free speech. But I wanted to take the opportunity today to talk to you about the plastics strategy. It's been very much in the news this week because the European Parliament adopted a report on the issue. Just for the legislative procedures, just so you're aware, because I read a couple of posts that say that the European Union now adopted the strategy. That is not the case. The European Union's Commission makes a proposal, which is called the Plastic Strategy. Now the European Parliament's Environment Committee added a couple of things to that proposal and then submits that to the plenary of the European Parliament, and the European Parliament plenary voted yes on that report, by the way. The report was accepted with, I have the votes somewhere here, 571 votes in favor, 53 against, and 34 abstentions. So now the European Parliament will go into negotiations with the European Council to try and find common ground. So it's basically the member states that have some power in this too, and that could stop it or at least reduce the scope of it if they wanted to do so. That's all the heads of state and government. So the report that the European Parliament adopted basically wants to ban plates, cutlery, straws, balloon sticks, cotton buds, everything made out of plastic or what is also single-use plastic. They say, for instance, that it makes up 70% of marine litter, which is true, but it is also true that only 1% of marine plastic litter is coming from Europe. So basically other countries do need to do their homework while the European Union has. And the general question that you could ask is, why are we not simply banning littering and cracking down on littering? If there was an increase of glass bottles being thrown into the forest, we wouldn't just simply ban glass bottles. We would tackle the problem where the crime is committed, and that is basically throwing your waste into places where they didn't belong. The European Parliament also gives a number of objectives for plastic uses which are not as easy to replace, and those have to be reduced by 25%. That waste has to be reduced by 25% until 2025. It also bans, for instance, things such as styrofoam food containers. That's at least what the report says. Now we'll have to see what the council will say. My position is this. In general, you have to consider what is the alternative, what are the consequences, what are the unintended consequences of your actions. So if you ban, for instance, single-use plastic bags for shopping, now you could say those are very much a littering problem, let's ban them altogether. But you have to consider what is the environmental footprint of the alternatives. So let's say instead of a single-use plastic bag, you use a cotton bag. You have to consider how often do you need to reuse the cotton bag in order for it to be sustainable, so that you at least break even with the single-use plastic bag. And what you find when you look at the studies is actually that people don't reuse these alternatives as often. So either you manage to convince everyone to use them twice as much, or 4 times as much in some cases, or you simply have to recognize that the policy is just a make-believe policy, like it looks good, we're doing something to help the environment, we're not actually looking at the numbers. I think that the plastic strategy is going to cost not only jobs, it's also going to be inconvenient for consumers. It's actually not helping the environment, and there's a lot of good measures that we could use to really crack down on littering and to get the stuff out of the ocean, to be better on recycling, to find more innovative techniques to recycle. I think that's where really the key solution should be here. So I'll be putting some links down below, articles that are also linked with studies that I've looked at in terms of the reuse and the ecological, the environmental footprint of some of these bags and the considerations on that. So you can check that out. Also, I will also be putting down below a link towards what the European Parliament says about the whole issue, so you can make up your mind. So thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.